Evolving with the cosmos. The cosmos is full beyond measure of elegant truths, of exquisite interrelationships, of the awesome machinery of nature. The surface of the earth is the shore of the cosmic ocean. On this shore, we've learned most of what we know. Recently, we've waded a little way out, maybe ankle deep, and the water seems inviting. Some part of our being knows this is where we came from. We long to return, and we can, because the cosmos is also within us. We're made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Carl Sagan.
Oh, thank you so much, Mary, and welcome everybody to Gems from the Wisdom Traditions, a conversation circle that is sponsored by Still and Moving Center, and very imminently will be sponsored by Still and Moving Meditation Fellowship. And it's a pleasure to have all of you here for a wonderful topic of really exploring our cosmos. And our topic is dawn, sunrise, and I'm going to let Malia pronounce it for us properly when she speaks. We have our Kumuhula, Malia Helela, who's going to be our presenter for today, whose idea to do these gems from the movement traditions, which is what this one is actually properly named. This was her idea that we should do gems from the movement tradition. So we are going to follow this topic from the tradition of hula, of which she is a master. She's a kumu hula, traditionally trained in this dance that is such a living part of this island, or set of islands of Hawaii. And so I'm going to, without further ado, Malia, let you just take it away, please.
Mahalo nui. Aloha, everybody. I'm going to share my screen so we can take a look at this word, Wanaao. And ka is the, so kavana'au is the dawn, or to dawn, the near approach of morning, the early dawn of morning, the first light of day. And so I'm actually going to start here with a chant about the dawn. And so I invite you just to sit back, relax for a moment. Naui hoi kau puava uli puava kea moa kane moa hine maikina kau lele talani. Ova o ka lio e heaka. O ke aka no ia mai ka iki kua ka iki moe mai ka iki kapa ua e kane. E ia maka pule ka vaioha. Kana e na ia o e ke a kua. E ola no e. Okay, so that chant describes the dawn and the emerging nature of life, how in the beginning we are mere wisps of life that we vivify with the light of day. I read a book by a woman named Emma Case called Everything Ancient Was Once New. And I actually want to go from this name, or this word, Wanaao, to Hikina, which is the word for east. Hiki, in Hikina, is at once an ancestral homeland for Hawaiians, and the knowledge that there is life to be found beyond our shores. It is where we say our ancestors come from when they boarded double-hulled canoes in other parts of Oceania and set sail to discover new homes. Kahiki is therefore both a symbol of ancestral connection and the potential that comes with remembering and acting upon that connection. So I'm going to come out of the share here just to explore a little bit about what it means to begin something. And so when voyagers first oriented themselves to go on a journey, it was often by finding what is rising in the east, whether it was the sun or stars or constellations, and using that movement of the sun to orient and navigate. And so Hikina, the east, I believe, is synonymous with not just the beginning of a day, but also a means of how do we orient ourselves. What is the thing that we can count on to navigate forward? And if you were to view the sunrise from one point in the sky, let's see, okay, so this is a little bit opposite, but right behind my name is a pair of islands called Mokulua, and looking from Kailua Beach, the sun will actually rise 3 shaka lengths along the horizon. And so rising at the winter time, the sun is coming up behind the Mokulua Islands. At each equinox, the sun gradually moves and rises about central of the bay. About 1.5 shaka from the Mokulua, and then at the summer solstice, which was this morning's hi'uvai, it rises about halfway through. And so I just mentioned this movement of the sun because if you don't have the long view of viewing that sun cycle through years and years and years, it might appear that the sun is unreliable, like it's coming up at different points on the horizon if you don't have that perspective of many, many years and decades and centuries of time to recognize that what looks like a variance is actually part of a pattern. And so when I think of the dawn and when I think about the east, I think not just about beginnings, but also about how do we orient and how do we choose to move into a new beginning. Let's go back into the share. And so when we think about the dawn and the beginning, I do want to take a moment to also look at the sunset. So here we see Kailua, which is Ku'u'one Hanau. Kailua is where I'm from, where I was raised. It is the beach and the sands of my birth and childhood. So the sun rises in the east, and over here what is highlighted is Ka'ena Point, which is the westernmost point on the island of Oahu. And here we are looking at the very end of the Waianae mountain range, and we can see the sun, or the waves coming in from both sides of this mountain range. When we think about east and beginnings, I think it's really beautiful to think as well about endings, right? About cycles, that every beginning is usually the ending of something, and every ending is the beginning. And so as we look at the dawn and our perception of time, I think it's really interesting to look at it in its full cycle of both morning and beginnings, as well as evenings and times to rest. And a Hawaiian way of saying forever is from dawn to dusk, from the sun's rise to the sunset. It's a way of portraying and sharing this concept of timelessness, of forever. And so with this, I'm just going to, again, go into a little bit of a share. This is only going to be about 3 minutes, and this is reflecting on what it is to release and let go. And so this is going to be describing hi'uvai, which is a process of cleansing in the ocean. And just please keep in mind that full sun cycle of rising, sunrise in the morning, and then setting at the end, because I believe that that cycle is contained in our hi'uvai. It is beginning at the dawn with the sun's rise, and we are releasing and letting go, which is symbolized by the sunset. So a full cycle happening, and I'm actually going to reshare this with sound so that it'll come through a little bit easier for all of you. But I invite you to come along with, these are going to be a couple of different These are going to be a couple of different video clips from, just from different times. Okay. All right, let's just do a double check. Can you hear some sound?
Don't remember my first hi'uvai, but I believe it was on the island of Kauai. Auntie Pulu'elo and our halau were invited to a ceremony at Ke'e on Kauai, and this was at a hula heiau called Keahualaka. We were always taught to cleanse before any major ceremony, even any major performance, and I believe it probably went something like this. We were taught to first find a spot on the sand, to meditate, and to just think about what we're ready to let go, what we're ready to cleanse. We were taught to observe and look not only at the ocean, but all around us, and see signs all around. When we went in together. Can you imagine feeling that cold just waking us up? We would gather in the water and hold hands, and Auntie Pulu taught us to immerse 3 times. She would guide us through immersing for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We immersed for cleansing. We immersed to be washed clean of anything that no longer served us, and anything that was holding us back or causing us harm. We cleansed, and then we would splash and play. I remember her just laughing and swimming around at the end of the ceremony. It was marked by smiling and enjoyment. When I went to Ke'e to have my own uniki, my graduation as a kumuhula, I was in charge of the keiki. And as much as I tried to describe it, the practice of hi'uvai, I knew that it was really a matter of experiencing it. And that's indeed what happened. We went and we experienced it back in 2002. When I opened my halau, I knew that I wanted to make hi'uvai a regular practice, so that when it was time for ceremony, we would already know what to do. We could focus on the ceremony and not so much, the actual procedure of hi'uvai. And so we began to practice every equinox and every solstice, mainly at Kalama Beach in Kailua. We did a couple of sunset hi'uvai, which are beautiful, out on the west side. And one exception as well is when I gave birth to the twins. I had Vaiea right before midnight on the last day of winter, Kaihu just after midnight on the first day of spring. And so, that was its own ceremony. We have continued to form a relationship with a place, because that is truly what's important. The practice is a very important piece, right? A practice of presence and cleansing and doing something together, but also developing a relationship with a place, because we can see changes over time, and that's reflected in our own selves, in our own lives and practices. We can mark time and look back at, wow, I've really grown since my first hi'uvai. There's something different each time, and it just reflects back and forth between nature and our own lives.
All right, so just one short little video on cleansing practices. And so as we continue just to reflect on the Wanaao, Kawana'ao, the sunrise, the dawn, I do invite you once again to think about, how do we navigate beginnings like the dawn, and how do we navigate endings? How do we navigate that circle and that cycle of life? One thing that is very strongly associated with dawn is weddings and unions and marriages. In many accounts, the way that couples would become a couple in ancient Hawaii is they would share the night and wake up to the dawn. They would see the dawn together, and they were considered a couple. So the word that is often used for wedding is ho'ao, which is to dawn, to see that first light of day, to share that new beginning. And so, again, back to the share here. And so this is a wedding that I performed for our Still and Moving community members, Mama Luokikai and Ernie. And so the chant of wedding or of marriage, it describes so many things of that we would see in the dawn, starting in darkness, a time of the unknown, and then with each gradual increment of light coming into the day, we see an emergence of a relationship and a union. And I think that that promise, that potential that is held in the dawn, is a really beautiful symbol, not just for a wedding, certainly for an actual wedding ceremony, but really with every single day, right? That we have an opportunity to start fresh every morning, and that really the dawn has, it represents limitless potential, right? That realm of possibility is clearly wide open for us with every dawn. And so here we come to a part where I would love to just invite you to join me. I would love to invite you all to Hi'uvai, but since we're on this virtual space, we're going to do a chant. And so let's take a look at our two hands. And so we're going to find cupping your hands. So we're going to cross at the thumbs, and we want to create a hollow, like a thumping sound. Good. And then take the back of your right hand, and we're going to use the back of the fingers to create a high pitch. So it's 1, 2, back of the hand. 1, 2, back of the hand. And so this beat is what we're going to use for our oli. And these two hands creating that cupped shape, I've heard this described as forming a world, that we have that balance between the two sides, like the dawn and the dusk, right? That we bring that together into this round-shaped sound. And then this higher pitch is an accent. And so let's take a look at this translation, which is provided by the Edith Kanaka Ole Foundation, a wonderful resource of a hula lineage from the Big Island. And so we begin with the title, Eala E. So let's just repeat after me. Everybody's muted, so that's fine. Just repeat after me, Eala E. Good, and that is the first line. So Eala E, awaken or arise. Kala ikahikina. So let's read the second line together. Ready? Pa. Kala ikahikina. So kala is the sun and hikina is the east. Okay, next one. Ika moana. So repeat after me. Ika moana. And moana, we would typically translate that as ocean or the sea. But notice the English here, it says in the time. And so moana here is described as time. And kamoana hohonu, let's read that one together. Kamoana hohonu. And so hohonu is depth or deep, like deep water. If you see honu at the end of the word hohonu, honu is turtle. So I think about where a turtle dives deep into the sea. And so kamoana hohonu, I would normally think of the deep ocean, but again, moana here is translated as time. Now, from the depths, we are going to pi'i kaleva. Is everyone? Pi'i kaleva. Pi'i is to rise or climb or ascend. Kaleva is the highest point in the heavens. And then we describe kaleva as kaleva nu'u. Is everyone? Kaleva nu'u. Nu'u is a summit or the highest point. We see that reflected in Nu'uanu. When we go over the Pali, Nu'uanu is the Chile heights. Ikahikina, everyone. Ikahikina in the east. Aya kala, there is the sun. Eala e, rise up and awaken. So I'm going to come out of the share and let's talk about a cadence. And so this chant has a really beautiful cadence that to me reflects the ocean waves. So you can take either hand and just press the palm down and up, down and up. So I'm going to do the chant, and what I'd like you to do is just sense the timing and the cadence. So don't worry about chanting it yet, just listen to the flow. E ala e kala I kahikina I kamoana ho honu pi I kaleva nu I kahikina ayakala e ala e. So it's down and up and down and up. Down and up and down and up. Okay, good. So I'm going to bring back the lyrics and let's do this one together. So Ayala again is to arise, to awaken. All right, I'm just letting my computer, let's see, is this the one? It's thinking, so, there we go. Okay, so we have cross, cross, back of the hand, cross, cross, back. E ala, here we go. E ala e kala I kahikina I kamoana ho honu pi I kaleva nu I kahikina ayakala. E ala e, a little higher, a little faster. E ala e kala I kahikina I kamoana ho honu pi I kaleva nu I kahikina ayakala. E ala e, once more, a little higher, a little faster. E ala e kala I kahikina I kamoana ho honu pi I kaleva nu I kahikina ayakala. E ala e, and lava mekai. And so with the sunrise, we see a new beginning, we see a new opportunity for just infinite potential. I hope that when you think back on this talk and just considering how do we navigate our beginnings, how do we navigate our endings, and truly how do we approach that cyclical nature of life, where all beginnings may be endings, all endings may be profound beginnings. And when we look, I believe, when we look at our day as just a means of accessing infinite possibility, infinite potential, I hope that you get a sense of just the grandeur of what we have available to us every morning, every day. And thank you so much for joining me on this talk. I would like to kind of move into our discussion time just by starting with a show of hands. Has anybody ever watched a sunrise? Fantastic. Show of hands. Has anybody watched a moonrise? Oh, very nice. Yeah. So the sun and the moon rise up in the east. It's quite beautiful. And I would just invite anybody to share a little bit about your dawn experiences. I know it's a very broad topic, but I would like to start with Kai Olana today. We just had a hi'uvai this morning, and so if there's anything you'd like to share about our dawn experience this morning, I welcome you to unmute.
Yeah, I think it's just so important to purify and set intention, and it's just always so interesting that it's so different every time. Like last time we did Hi'uvai, we had to do Eala E, I don't know how many times, because every time we did it, the cloud bank would rise higher, and then the sun would rise, and then the cloud rise. And today it was just like up, we only did it once, like, 3 times, 3 times through, and it was like it was up. And yeah, just seeing that golden path from the sun coming directly to you, um, just connects to the light. And it was such a beautiful, peaceful morning. And I've actually not so much sunrise, but I've been getting up early in the morning to go walking during the summertime because it just, I don't know, it just brings me a sense of peace to be up early in the morning. And it's not too hot to walk. Once the sun is really up, it's, like your computer, it's too hot. So, yeah, it's just a quiet, peaceful, fresh kind of feeling early in the morning.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It was very peaceful. We were sending love to you, Wayao. And when we chant, so Eala A is a chant to wake up the sun. So we're standing at the ocean and we are chanting to wake that sun up. And some practitioners wait for the complete disk of the sun to lift up behind the horizon to chant. So they will chant sometimes for a very long time. For us, I look for a path of light that comes to us from the sun. And today it was just gorgeous. So we didn't have to wait very long. I'd like to ask Kaimiloa to share. So you had an opportunity to fly over from the Big Island and participate in Hi'uvai. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about that.
I'd love to. It was so special. It was the winter solstice, which was also my birthday that day. So that's just stuck in my heart. But it was just beautiful and it was so quiet and just peaceful. And we sat there on the sand and then we got up and chanted and going into the water. And I just remember how powerful the waves were. On December 21st and at that one, and it was powerful, but it just felt so cleansed and it has completely changed my life. I just love it and I wish I could have been there today with you guys.
Thank you. You were definitely with us. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that when we do something that is so out of our normal routine, it does wake our mind up in very, very real ways. When we have a routine, just to preserve, just for self-preservation, our brains tend to bring down the neural activity. It's how you can drive home and not remember the drive. You pull into the driveway and you're like, wait a minute, I don't remember driving here. It's because the brain is bringing that activity to a manageable way. And when we have an experience that is different, all of a sudden our neural activity, our brain wakes up. And I think that just waking up and going driving in the dark, stepping into the water when it can be really, really cold, is just something new that allows the mind to wake up. And I think that on a spiritual level, it is a new beginning, and on a neural level, it does open up a lot of possibility for us. So I'd like to check in. I don't know, Dahlia, if you have any sunrise experiences or practices, you're welcome to
I
share.
actually, yeah, I love the sunrise. My home faces west, so I do get to see a lot of sunsets now, but not as much sunrise. But I'm Persian, and so we celebrate the winter solstice. We call it Shab Yalda, and so part of the tradition is that we stay up. I mean, I'm talking years ago. I mean, I don't really do it as much now, but we would like stay up and then we would like read poetry from Hafiz and Sufi poetry, and then we eat pomegranate, and then once the dawn would arrive as a group, like, me and my family would go and then we would watch the sunrise, and I remember how special that was because it was the longest night, would end, and then you would have the dawn. My other time that I really started to appreciate the sunrise was when I was doing my yoga teacher training in Costa Rica, because over there you had to wake up before dawn and then get ready and then, do your meditations, and then just like being there and like watching how the the whole jungle really like changed because it had its own routine, right? You had the howling monkeys and all, and then you, after a while, you kind of knew when to expect what, and like the whole world around you coming into life. For me, it was very, very, very special.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. I mean, that's gorgeous. I thank you for sharing that family tradition of the darkest or the longest night and awakening with the sweetness of the pomegranate and poetry. What a wonderful tradition. Thank you so much. And I can just imagine in Costa Rica just the changing of light and the awakening of different lives, like the things change, I think, in a way that we can perceive a little bit easier at the dawn, because things change a little bit more quickly in a very short amount of time. This morning we had a lot of birds too. I heard birds behind us, there were birds soaring, and there was a group of maybe 6 that kept diving up and down, moving together. They just literally crossed the horizon and then I didn't see them again. So it just, different things waking up at different points really marks that passage of time. Yes, Kayolena.
It just reminds me of, I don't know, several years ago when we had that total eclipse, right? And there were guys under the water to see what would happen. And when the total eclipse happened, all the fish went to sleep. And as the eclipse opened, all the fish came back up and started swimming around again. So all of that is so cued by the light, you know? It's just all those creatures that yeah, their whole life cycle itself is cued by, do we have light or we don't have light, you know?
Yeah, I think that calls back to navigating. How do we navigate beginnings of endings? I recently was in Japan, and so when I flew to Japan, I was flying into tomorrow. And here at home, I am so busy. I stay up really late because I have lots to think about, lots of things that I'm working on. I don't tend to sleep until really, really late. But with the time change in Japan, it actually sets me to wake up at dawn and to sleep. I'm super tired by sunset. And so I really have come to really love my time in Japan for that unique reset in terms of the day. Like, I am up at dawn and I'm crashing at sunset, which is, I think, a much more natural cycle. But yes, thank you for that, Kayolena. Jade and Dasheen, I know that you both have such affinity to the dawn and practices. If there's anything you'd like to share, we'd appreciate it.
I think one of the sweet memories I have being in Hawaii was the first day when we landed onto the island. The very first thing we did was to go at the beach to see the sunrise. And since then, the tradition has been continued pretty much every time we go visit the beach. And I'm also, in a way, very blessed to have that natural cycle. Somehow nature connected me to wake up before dawn and sleep just after sunset. And I've been following that practice for more than 3 or maybe 7 years now or something. And one of the things that I find fascinating is that it allows me my daily routine in terms of what I eat, how I process, how my body processes the food very differently. And if there's a change in the cycle, I can sense the different ways my body and my mind, my emotion would show up differently. And it's pretty instantaneous. The moment I would go out and have conversation with someone else, I'm like, oh, I recognize what's happening within myself. And every day is an opportunity to reset that and also to find a way to connect deeper with yourself. So that's my share from the cycle of the day and the night.
Thank you. That's beautiful. And Jade, anything to add?
Thank you, Kumulia, and also everyone for sharing your beautiful stories. I am so grateful for the sunrise and sunsets. I absolutely just cherish them each and every day. And every day I observe. I'm very grateful to observe so many sunrises and sunsets, and every single one is unique. Every single one, the sky is painted in different colors and different lights, and I'm reminded that it's not good weather or bad weather, good sunrise or bad sunrise, but it's every day is unique weather. And through observing sunrise from different paths and different places of observation, it has taught me so much about nature, both within and outside. And a few things I learned is nature has a natural cycle. When we drive to the sunrise, the birds are most active at sunrise, and you'll hear the whole tree is just chirping up. And at sunrise, they're returning, and you'll see all the parrots are flying back home. And that's one of the things that Duchesne helped me observe from nature, is that natural cycle. And one more thing is, I just love standing in the water. I was standing in the water this morning at sunrise. I just love standing in front of the ocean and welcoming and being welcomed by the sun. I truly feel cleansed by it, by the wind, by the water, by the rainbows. And every day the nature is different. One time we saw literally 2,000 crabs, baby crabs, just became born on the sand of Lanikai Beach, and never saw that ever again. 2,000 baby crabs just all being born on the sand. And then another day, just the frigates flying with a full rainbow in the sky. So many gorgeous moments and teachers from nature. Mahalo.
Oh, mahalo nui, just gorgeous. Thank you so much for that share, and just for the visual, the imagery. I was really fortunate. It's something I cherish, is a workshop that I did with Jade and Duchesne on chai, and I was really struck by what you said about how you make chai every morning, like cup by cup, and how this practice of blending spices allows us, like I do it now too, to fine-tune what you put into your chai. Maybe you want a little more ginger, maybe you sense that you need a little bit more cinnamon, but having that ability to shift and shape the spice blend is so revolutionary for me. And I think the intention that you put into creating your chai every morning is so inspiring to me. So thank you so much for that. I see David Sanders. Aloha.
Aloha.
To share on the dawn.
Thank you, Malia. Beautiful as always. Hey, this is a little bit of a tangent. That rhythm you tapped out for us, isn't that the same as Queen's very famous song, We Will Rock You? Amazing. Yeah, it was hard for me to stay with ALA when it was like, we will rock you. Yes. I think it just resonates deeply. Something about it resonates deeply in our soul. One of my favorite sunrise stories was from my days in San Diego in La Jolla, and I woke up at 5 something in the morning, very unexpectedly, and the voice said, "Go to Mount Soledad," which I believe means something about the sun, right? And I go running. I drive up there. I was on my motorcycle, and I got there just to see the moon setting and the sun rising simultaneously. And there are about a half a dozen people out there that were drawn to the same experience. And I think it speaks to that we are stardust, that we are part of nature, and that nature speaks to us when we have the ears to hear and to listen. You know? And I really want a replay of that chai workshop or whatever that was, because now I'm thirsting for it. So Jade, Malia, can you put that back together for us?
Oh, I hope so. I ordered a spice grinder. Now I grind my own spices, and I change it every time. And just having that present moment space to sense what is needed, yeah, definitely. Jade and Jishi now have chai grandbabies because I have now taught several people how to grind spices and make chai. But what you said, David, about the moonrise at sunset is true. That's part of the timing, the dance of time, that the full moon rises at sunset, and the full moon is going to be at its zenith at midnight. And so if you can kind of see those cycles over time, and the repetition of that cycle, you can start to, to time your moon and sunset viewing pleasure to coincide. There was a time that I had visited my uncle in Connecticut, and I was on a train, a northbound train going up the coast, and out two sides of the train there was the sunset and the moonrise. It was pretty amazing. North with the sun and the moon spiraling around in a very visible way. It was really beautiful. So thank you for triggering that memory for me.
Yeah. I did a little research. 10:24 p.m. this evening will be the exact astrological moment when we enter into summer. So if anybody's interested in celebrating that astrological moment when we tilt, 10:24 here in Hawaii.
Oh, 1024 Queen Street.
Oh.
Yeah, that's so that is an alignment. That is a beautiful alignment. So let's see. I think most everybody's had a chance to share. Dustin, is there anything you'd like to add about dawn, sunrise?
Hey everybody, so nice to see your beautiful face, Malia. It has been long missed and greatly appreciated. What really stuck out to me, thank you for sharing everything you shared on the dawn and the sunrise. I love what you mentioned about this awareness of what we could perceive as a variant in the bigger picture is actually a pattern, could be a pattern. And yeah, that just really stuck with me about remembering the big picture in things. And so it reminds me also of my love and appreciation of the sunrise. I'm really blessed where I live now to be able to see the sunrise every morning. And I've never had that. I've never lived in a place where I could see the sunrise every morning. And so I'm so blessed every single morning to be awake before the sun rises, and it's a part of my daily routine to wake up and it's all dark and everything's sleeping, and to sit and wait and allow myself, my heart, my mind, body, to slowly awaken as the sun rises with that dawn of the new day. And there's a scripture that I really love that I hold in my mind and my heart every morning. Two scriptures. One of them is that though sorrow and sadness may last for a night, joy always comes in the morning. And then there's another scripture in Psalms which says, behold, his love arises on the wings of the dawn. And so I always just hold on to, wow, okay, love and joy, no matter what has happened before this moment, love and joy is arising in this moment with this new day. And I have my Colombian cup of coffee from a farm that Walter took me to in Colombia, ready to go. So that first peak of that sun, I take my first sip of that Colombian coffee to start the new day. So yeah, that's my special love for the dawn of each new day.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that each of us probably has a certain affinity to either being a night owl or being a morning person. I believe that I inherited my night owl tendencies from my mom. And so I do appreciate Hi'uvai as a practice of witnessing the sunrise because it has opened up so much more of my day. It's really quite remarkable. But thank you for sharing that, Dustin. I've missed you too. Let's see. I know we have Adela Lay online. Not sure if you'd like to add anything about the sunrise. I'm just so glad to have you here with us. And I do also have a short piece if we have a little bit of time. It's only about maybe 3 or 4 minutes talking about cleansing. I know that for me, the dawn is so synonymous with Hi'uvai of cleansing ceremonies. And so thinking about the dawn to dusk, that sunrise to sunset cycle, that I think it's very significant that we practice cleansing ceremonies at dawn. I think it kind of brings that cycle into one moment. So I welcome any other shares about the dawn. And yes, go ahead, Kaiolana.
Just really quickly, for dawn and also for sunset, it was just reminding me that the reason I can't sleep in is because the minute the sun comes through my window and I face east and the birds start chirping, just like Jade said, all the birds in the tree outside my apartment start singing and the light comes through the window and I'm like, okay, I can't sleep now. My brain is awake. And I was also thinking about how at Emalani we would always go at the end of our performance to mark the ending up to the top lookout point and throw our greenery back, offer our greenery back to the earth. And I'll never forget that one sunset after doing that where we had actually a circular rainbow, complete circle, and it was this golden light, and then this owl went flying across the valley and we could hear it calling from the other side of the valley. I'm like, chicken skin, I'll never forget it. That spiritual indication that I guess our performance was accepted, that it was okay, and that we were in tune with that. So anyway, I'm done. But yeah, that was a real way to end something.
Yeah, here's a photo of Ilana, and it is releasing our lei from our performance and giving it back to, this is Kalalau Valley, diving deep down into the valley. But yes, that one time was very, very, very special. Thank you. Any other thoughts and sunrises? All right, we do have a little bit of time. Yeah, go ahead, Wayao.
Well, it was so interesting to spend a sunrise on the western side of an island where I'm so used to living on and greeting the sun in the east. And so it really tied together these ideas of beginnings and endings, because I realized that being on the western side, that's where I would be seeing the sunset. So where I was kind of like that ending that you were talking about, turning into a new beginning. And I also, I'm really fascinated by a quote that I believe comes from Henry David Thoreau, that only that day dawns to which we are awake. And I think it's more metaphorical. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to literally greet the sun every morning, but wherever we are in our lives, are we actually awake to it, to experience? Are we in this present now? And so the idea of dawn, I think, also symbolizes wakefulness. This perpetual dawn would be this, like this constant state of presence.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, what we are awake to. Right? We dawn what we're. I would love to have that quote later. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, go ahead, Mom.
I am not a morning person, and it's always a struggle to get up and get over to Kailua, but it is such a wonderful reward to be there for sunrise, and every time it's different. We've had times when the water was just glassy and times when you couldn't hardly stand up because the waves were coming. And I was also reminded of one of the times that Malia and I went to Bishop Museum because they had a special thing. There are actually 3 sunrises. And because, it's a scientific place, they had the astronomy people and they were explaining about the different sunrises. That was remarkable. I wish that I could remember exactly what they all were, but anytime you have an opportunity to experience any of the natural phenomenons, whether you're in Hawaii, you're in the United States, you're south, north, wherever, take advantage of it because it's another perspective and we don't know anything. We have so much that we don't know. There is so much we don't know. So thank you. Aloha.
Oh, thank you, Mom, for that reminder and that call to go to the natural places, right? Because there is so much that we don't know. And the more we form relationships to places, we can see that change over time, which is something I talk about often. Yes, Jade.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Miss Mary and Kumumulia. I really love what you share, Kumumulia, about observing through many years and from a larger picture. I'm very grateful to observe the nature through time, through the years, and I actually this year started documenting down some of the observations of the of what I've observed. And for example, last year at the start of summer solstice, which is today, I noticed that the parrots started flying at sunset in this direction, right past our home. And so today, they're probably gonna fly this way, starting this way. And also I noticed that certain months of the year, the frigates and the moli will fly right past the Moku Islands. And only at certain times of the year will they make that flight and be carried by the wind. And I've just started documenting down. It's also helps me to study and learn from the great teachers of nature and self-study as well.
Oh, that's a wonderful reminder too. Thank you. Yes, to document our observations. You probably have may or may not have noticed that the kolea aren't here anymore. They have made their journey to Alaska, and likewise the whales. Yeah, the whales have had their babies and now they are migrating, and it's just a cyclical thing, right? Time moves, time rolls, and I think the more we can observe it and bring it home to our awareness, we can hopefully see our place in that cycle as well. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. So we have a couple of minutes, if it's okay. I'm just going to share a little bit about cleansing practices. This is a short excerpt from a video I made for my Kahiko class when I was traveling. And it's also, you'll see a little bit about some things I've been learning in Japan. So this will be the close for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining this talk on the dawn. And I'm going to conclude here with some thoughts on cleansing.
First learning Lomi, I was taught that the most profound cleansing was to start at the beach, to immerse and cleanse in the ocean, and then to go up into the mountains to fresh water and wash off the salt. I started going to waterfalls. I was drawn to shady hikes, waterfalls. Naturally, I sat under the waterfall and just felt this profound cleansing and release. That led me to the practice of Takikyo, waterfall meditation, that I first heard about over 20 years ago and finally had the opportunity to experience over the last 2 days. There are so many things that are similar in the cleansing practices here in Japan, a few things that are different. A simple thing that I thought was very profound that I've never done is when approaching the waterfall to say your name, to speak your name in the quiet of your heart and the reason that you came. It was made very clear to me that any human thinking, any intellect, any mental grasping really has no place in Takikyo. That to be present, to have humility and just to receive the blessings of nature and to reflect back with profound gratitude was the most important thing. Because, as a kumu, as a practitioner, I'm trying to understand, I want to learn, and they kept telling me, no, just receive, just allow nature to receive. And I thought that was very profound. I think that cleansing practices are available to all of us. If we're able to go to the beach, it doesn't have to always be a ceremony. Just being in the water can be so cleansing. We can go to the mountains. And hey, if you don't want to stand under a waterfall, that's fine. I totally understand. What about standing in the wind? At home, one thing I often do when I'm not feeling quite right is just take a shower. Sometimes I'll even wash my hands just to have a moment of cleansing and release. You can even dry brush your hands. We can sweep your hands down your body to release, let go, and to cleanse. The body already knows how to cleanse. It does it every day. And I believe that when our lives veer into unfamiliar territory that makes us feel or leaves us feeling off balance or unsure, that we have many means of cleansing and clearing ourselves so that we can just find that next step on the path. Whether it is hi'uvai or takikyo, I hope that you are able to look around and see the practices that you're already doing for cleansing and maybe stepping forward into a new practice. Mahalo nui loa, everybody. Aloha.
And echoing that, mahalo nui loa, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. Mahalo nui.
Thank you so much, Malia. I'm going to ask Mary, since she has our almanac, whether she'll be able to read for us the theme for next week, including the quote. And then I think I would like to give our vote of thanks to you.
Oh, mahalo. So next week's theme is the pilgrimage of humanity. We are all cells in the same body of humanity. Peace, Pilgrim.
Thank you so much. Malia, I really felt as though your final piece of the many beautiful pieces that you had ready for us today, it just was so in keeping with everything else, and really addressed that quote that I brought up, that only that day dawns to which we are awake, because that's what your practice was. Your cleansing practice was to become fully present in that moment, not a bunch of mental chatter, but complete openness to the experience itself. And that is truly being awake, I think. So thank you for teaching through your something about this idea of dawning. Thank you to everyone else who participated in all the ways that you did. Thank you so much. Aloha.
Mahalo nui, everybody. Aloha.